more.
Major, just let me cut into your flow. You keep using the pronoun they. Who are they, if I may have?
You are my brother. You are a Nigerian. I'm sure I read much more than me. When I was in detention for 15 years, I had no right of reading newspapers, no magazine, no radio, no television. I only was allowed to go to court. They clamped on us. So you read the propaganda much more than me. You know them. You know them much more than me. So let's be straightforward. We shouldn't be dilly-dallying. Hit the nail right on the head. Let's speak the truth. Nothing more. Nothing more. I'm a victim of this game.
Sir, that's exactly the reason I'm asking you, because I do not know, but you seem to be in the picture. You experienced everything firsthand. So and then you kept using they, which means that you have an idea of who these people really are or where, if they are probably gone.
We were subjected to persecution. We were subjected to persecution by two governments. Nothing more. The government we handed over to, and that one that followed that. That's all. You have heard my testimony in court. Last week you said you had. I spoke last week. I spoke 4 hours, 20 minutes. So that is enough. You don't have to be repeating as if you have never had nothing in life. You know, you are a Nigerian and illiterate. In fact, some of the writing teams, just last 2 months, some members of the writing team who were writing the propaganda, the most senior among them came and then seek for forgiveness and told us so many. He's now with us.
Okay, Major. Thank you so much. It's been a very enjoyable conversation, and lots of people are on the speaker section to ask you 1 or 2 questions. So we're going to take a roll call. But before I do that, I would yield back to the hosts, who I'm sure also has 1 or 2 things to say. Like I said before, now, if you have a question for Major, do me a favor, indicate by a raise of hand, and then we'll take a roll call, and then you can actually follow through. So, the host, you can take over, please.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let's just make it quick one. Guys, just 2 minutes each, guys, as we have to new question. Right? Let's go to Peter. Peter will be is better. Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Just 2 minutes, please.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good morning, Major. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Yeah. I've been a fan of you for a long time, though. After listening to your sections at the Oputa panel, the way you narrated and disclosed everything that happened during your time in government. From that day, I've been a fan of you. And I know the media have painted you in a bad way, and the propaganda they used against you. Yeah. From my own point of view, I'm not speaking for anybody. Yeah. So I have 3 questions though, but since you don't want to call any names, from what I've heard in the from the Oputa panel, I could guess 2 people. The government you handed over to, Abdul Salam, and the Obasanjo government.
Right.
So if
I'm sorry, I have to meet you there. I think it will be just let us leave it at just day, not calling it, please. Thank you, Peter. So Peter, go ahead, please. Sorry for that.
Okay, my apologies. So my questions are, I want to ask you 3 questions. The first one is, what do you know about the Aburi Accord and why it didn't hold? Because that was one of the things that led to the war. And number 2 is, could it have been prevented? Number 3 is, you always use okay, I've already answered that one. You always use the word they. Okay, but I've already answered. So it's only 2. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And please, the one, could you please unmute the mic, please? The one, are you there? The one, are you there? Major sir, we can't hear you actually. Your mic is muted, sir. Please, is anyone close to Major sir? Major Al Mustapha, sir? Is anyone close to him? So please unmute the mic. The one, are you there? I'm sorry, is Henry?
Okay, yes, he can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Major.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
I'm not hearing anything.
Yes, we can hear you now, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Just a second, he's adjusting the earphone.
Okay, sir.
Just
Okay,
a second.
Sir. All right, sir.
Is it
Okay,
working?
sir. Yeah, it's working, sir.
I think Henry is having a connection problem. Can you see him?
Not
Just give him,
yeah, not Henry, yeah.
just give him the mic again now.
Yes, okay.
Is it working?
Waju, good morning.
Can you hear me now?
Welcome.
Yes, we can hear you.
It is going to go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, my brother, I can hear you. You said Abori Accord, and then there are two questions. That's the first question I had. What is the second question?
The second question is, could it have been prevented?
Hello? Hello?
So,
Hello. Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can hear you,
we
sir.
can hear you.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Can hear
Now
you.
I can. Okay. Abori Accord, and what? There are two questions you asked.
Could the war have been prevented?
No, that is point and war. Hello? I'm hearing nothing. I'm hearing nothing.
hello?
Okay, sir, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Keep the earphone. Hello?
Yes.
There
We
are
can hear
two
you.
questions, Abori Accord and then the war.
Yes, sir. It would have been.
Okay. That's the Abori Accord is Abori Accord. It happened. So there's just one question then. I heard him say two questions.
No, the Aburi Accord, I asked, why didn't it hold? Why? What happened? Why did it go wrong?
Right.
Why?
Well, I can answer you straight. Abori Accord, General Gawan is alive. You need to hear from him. And all those who participated, including foreign ministry with the documents in their own hands. And why that if they had sat, actually, the unseen hands regarding oil that I talked about, if they had met, it would have been. That's why so many of us who I listened to General Gawan severally, I listened to Let Ojukwu severally. Let Ojukwu in the 90s was more or less most of the time here in Abuja with us. And we were students, we listened to him, I was close to him. And that's why every year since the day I regained my freedom, I'm always in Imo State on Ojuku's annual lecture or annual anniversary. I go to attend in Owerri because of our closeness. And then, if you have been watching, you must have known that I've been speaking there. So the issue of war is unfortunate. It was a calculated thing. And oil played its own role deliberately. And there was personality clash. That's all I can say. The personality clash was invested upon. And then they put a lot of kerosene on each side. So the fire continued to roar so that they could take whatever they wanted. But I transfer this question to our former president and all those who organized, and including foreign ministry and Ghanaian ambassador then.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And please, let's have Dr. Clark, please, just 1 minute, please.
Okay. Major, he said we should call him Mustapha. First of all, I want to thank you for your service. Okay. I want to thank you for your service for Nigeria. I listened to almost all your speech, the one you gave about Bakassi your interview with Brekete family. I listened to all that. And what I see in you is loyalty, a man who is loyal to this country, who take order and execute it. You have made emphasis on that. You spoke about it. You spoke about your military code and the discipline you observe. I thought it was a very, very interesting virtue to have. I myself, I don't know if you know about the French Foreign Legion.
Yes.
I was part of it for a while, so I understand what you were speaking. So what I want to ask is this: you served, you're a servant of this country, you serve this country, you want the best for this country, you understand what serving means.
Right.
And you are being under the tutelage of a man who obviously loved this country, Abacha himself. He tutored you, you work with him. So you understand what serving means, but do you understand what management means? Because you are asking us to give you the confidence of Nigeria. You're asking us to give you the #1 position in the country. Right. I'm asking you this because I've been wondering why you haven't taken any ministerial position all this while. For example, Minister of Defense, for example, will need your service in some of these aspects in Nigeria. So we know your portfolio as a servant of this country, but we haven't seen, I don't know if you have any record of managing any ministry or anything in this country, because this is where we want to focus on that. If you can speak on that.
Management, we were exposed to management as far back as 1984. You may ask, what was my rank? What was my age? I had then just returned from an international foreign operations on foreign forces withdrawal from Chad. As at 84, 85, we had already also, I was part of the major team that was negotiating over a major matter on Bakassi. By 87, we were plunged into preparing the land for military occupation there. But looking at internal issues in Nigeria, I was part of numerous reorganizations from military to economic intelligence of Nigeria. That gave me the advantage of looking at the crisis in Liberia from Army headquarters. We were shuttling and managing from the beginning until it became what it became. And then we were also managing Sierra Leone and then managing Gambia. As at the time General Abacha died from 1994 to 1998, that is 4 years, 7 months, the presidencies in Liberia, in Sierra Leone and Gambia were directly under my care. So I was more or less overseeing the affairs of the 3 presidents in these countries, plus the heavy work on my head. And remember, I told you, Abacha, nobody has had attempts to remove him out of office within a short span of time. It was on the 8th coup attempt that Abacha died. So if I was managing these other 4 countries plus Nigeria, you can look at the weight on your own and look at it together. We hadn't any social time. I hadn't any holiday. If you see me out of office, then I'm sick. Or it is 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 or 11 if I'm led back to the office. These were the sacrifices we'd made. 1, keeping Nigeria afloat. 2, other countries. And with numerous events that many people invested in destroying the country. While we were doing that, there are those you call elder statesmen in Nigeria who went and now convinced America and told lies to America and asked America to put sanctions in Nigeria so that Nigerians could feel the pains and pinch and help them uproot Abacha. If Nigerians are starved of food, are starved of resources, and if crises are too enormous, then they will help them. Nigerians will feel the pains in removing Abacha out of office. These are elder statesmen in Nigeria who did that. And I'm talking, and I hope American government is aware I'm talking like this. And then there are documents to back this so-called invitation. So you see, if you love your country, there is no reason why, on whatever grounds, you can call for disaster or inflicting of pains on the poor masses so that they can help you remove a government, if that was the intention. But unfortunately, it was, and the Americans are aware. And thank God some of these evidences are still back in our hands, given to us by the same Americans to keep for tomorrow. So there are many things unknown to Nigeria. If it is capacity, I know what we can do. If it is looking at Nigeria from the activities of ECOWAS or within African countries, we are not new into preparing Nigeria for new courses. If we're looking at Nigeria from within Committee of Nations, from the politics of G7 and above and the rest, I tell you what we know. our economic plans, our external alliances, our new formula in terms of foreign policy that we know will be beneficial to Nigeria against what we have had in the past of all kinds. Now is a new world order and taking cognizance into the major fundamental things that determine what becomes of any type of leadership, any times of government, any times of leadership or any times of any type of government. So if you look at it from that perspective, then you know that we are fully prepared. If it is capacity, if it is whatever you are looking at. The issue of me not accepting to hold political appointment, Minister of Defense, this is a matter of choice. If you have to give me a ministry, then I want that latitude. I will show my master plan of what I'm to achieve and within which span of time. Once you do that, it shows that some certain people who believe the moment you're a political appointee, theirs is to use you to milk the country. I'm not brought up that way. I am a mission, I'm a result-oriented person. If you give me any ministry, then take note, I will give you also my submission. If you approve of it, that will becomes my guiding factor into what I'm to achieve and within which span of time. That's why even some of us now challenge the idea of appointing a minister and giving him the free license to just go and do whatever he feels like. That is an abuse. That is disservice. Any political appointee that is directionless is a waste of time. He will achieve nothing for you. They can make the noise, but there is no timetable and there is no direction to say BC policies should be seen to attain BCD with social amount of funds. Once things are tied down to that, it is clear that there is a result will be achieved. But in Nigeria, because of the corruption and because of the in-depth nature of it, the moment you're appointed, your house will be packed full, people will make submissions, and the moment you refuse, they will remove you. So we believe if there is a weak leader at the center who might not understand, that ministerial post will just be there as a waste. And I don't want to be seen to compromise. If you give me assignment, I want to know my mission well spelled out and let everybody know. And within that span of time, it must be attained. That's the way I'm brought up. I'm not brought up to compromise. I'm not going there to make money for myself or to tell lies or to deceive people. I'm not part of that.
Okay. This is my last question. This is the last question. Okay, just one, please. It's very important. It's regarding the point he made, please. Very, very important. Please, I like the way you responded because you made mention of foreign policies and internal policies that you can be able to handle. I would like you to speak about this. I know all Nigerians are interested in this. The issue of Boko Haram. Are there foreign interests? Are there local interests? What is your opinion about that? And what policies can you bring up to handle this issue? Because when you speak, you keep mentioning the word they. Many people have seen almost all your interview. You have been asked to clarify what you mean by they. So we need to understand the people internally and the external forces that are influencing things that are going on in Nigeria. So please, if you can speak about that on Boko Haram particularly, what is the internal influence and the external influence?
All right, thank you so much. Sir, I was about asking some question. Security in general in the whole of Nigeria, most especially in the northeast, Boko Haram, then southeast, should I say this kidnapping, this whole unvests of unknown gunmen in Nigeria, even call them IPOB, ESN, Amoteco in the southeast, everybody plays just like how would you handle security issues if elected the president of Nigeria, sir? Thank you, sir.
Okay, my brother. It's just that I have been talking on our plans, but I don't think you people are hearing or you get to know what we have. But let me talk to you first of all, squarely and right away. On Boko Haram, first of all, let me also correct an insinuation that the first questioner talked about that I always say they. No, I think you are getting me wrong. Or you have not also listened to me in the past. I was just trying to be fast, that's why, nothing more. Boko Haram, I said it. By the 1st November 1999, that when I was in detention, I got to know what it was all about. The games, it was a game aimed at taking mineral resources in Borno State, part of Yobe, Bauchi, Gombe, and Taraba State. It is a deposit kept by God Almighty that some of us got to know in 1995, 1996, with the support of Libyan government, when an X-ray was done over some certain insinuations, which gave birth to Libyan government contracting a German company that came and started to discover uranium in Niger. So Nigeria's interest brought me as the link who kept shuttling between Nigeria and Libya, and then with the Germans who discovered it. So when we got the direction, we went further into that. I will not talk on that now. We went further to know that what was kept there alone between Zambeza dovetailing into Lake Chad was capable of building or funding or creating 10 Dubais as at 1996. I said it, and I'm waiting for who will challenge me on this. That's why we now took samples of what was there and getting to know the prices of what is kept there alone in international market as at that time. You see, you should always sit down as Nigerians, first of all, to know what is the type of country that God Almighty has created you into. You have to evaluate the country, and when you are doing so, you have to put Nigeria on a comparative table with all other countries in the world, and then you can now appreciate and see the uniqueness of your country. Time to synergize and know what to do, that's another thing. But for your question, is on internal security of Nigeria. I said, we have demilitarized our military. I'm sure you must have heard that. And we also succeeded in militarizing our police out of wrong approach and out of people's personal interest of trying to make money. The routines that is managing our physical security in Nigeria is very wrong, is unacceptable, it is polluted. So we have an arrangement that is wider and bigger. I will tell you, but there are two also issues I won't tell you. First of all, we shall be pulling the military soon after we create a National Guard. We are coming up with National Guard that is divided into 8. First is border type. There is the physical type, there is the electronic monitoring and enforcement of National Guard. There is National Guard for forestry. There is National Guard for our waterways. There is National Guard for all the hideouts in all our mountains across, including illegal mining sites. There is also the National Guard in terms of quick response that will now be supportive to the police. Well, the military will pull back and now get itself regroomed, retrained, and reoriented to be the military that was known to be second best in the world in terms of versatility and in terms of conduct, as it is in peacekeeping records with the United Nations. There is also an arrangement we have in our package to create what is called National Coastal Guard Electronics and National Coastal Guard Marine. These two will support the Navy. The Marine will help in protecting all your resources in your coast, dovetailing up to part of Bakassi. There is so much we are losing every day on numerous types of thefts. You see, I talked about thefts some 2 months ago, but thank God today, a small committee that has just started its work. I'm sure you read Nigerian newspapers and know how much they discovered approximately that was stolen in the last 2 years. You can imagine what was stolen from 1977. I'm giving you dates and time in terms of what happened. No Nigerian can quantify what happened from 1977 to date. This is fortune that has built so many countries that are today undermining our security. So this aside, we're also coming to break the police. The police will be divided into 2. The powers of the investigation will be centralized so that the police themselves will be kept in check. The police will be reduced to the constitutional police role across Nigeria, and that will bring sanity. That is to say, police themselves will not have free hand into molestation or exploitation. When you do that, you can realize that today, I give you one tiny example why police is the way it is a monster on its own. No IG can give a standing order to say, no roadblock shall hold in Nigeria. That IG is not born in today's police. They tried it from 80s when Shagari was in power to date. Nobody could stop it. because that is a culture of corruption that has permeated all layers in the police, and that has corrupted them from working other than the seat. What is the history of roadblocks? How roadblocks started and how police found it lucrative and they maintain it across Nigeria is disservice and has nothing to do with Nigeria's security. Rather, it is compounding your internal security problems. It's another subject I will talk about some other day. But then with all these I talked about, there is also the need for creation of something we have come up with called National Economic Intelligence Agency for Nigeria, where the likes of EFCC, ICPC will all be in just one single department out of it. International trade, the National Economic Intelligence Agency will work with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with Ministry of Finance, with the Treasury, with the Central Bank, National Planning, Office of Secretary to Government, and Office of the President. This is something new Nigerians are not aware of. I don't want to go deep into it because of the sensitivity of its own primary and secondary roles. We're also coming up with something called National Electronic Agency for Nigeria. The essence of this is for us to now go electronic and participate and relate with the entire world. The new world order has gone electronic, but Nigeria is still in digital, in analog sense, meaning to say we shall now relate with countries who have the same investments, Nigerian satellites, so that we can now support give technology into whatever we do, from our security, economic management, our education, health. We can easily relate with the whole world and flow along as a country that is seasoned enough. So there are two other ones that I'm keeping to my chest are sensitive. Once we come up with this, you will be amazed. And another question I know you may ask is, where will you get the money to fund them? We have already worked it out, and that took us 5 years, 8 months in knowing where to generate funds. If you had listened to what I said just last week in Berkete Family, I told you with ease, I can sit down taking tea and I know how to create $889 billion, 74 billion per month, in taking raw materials and with the negotiation as a sample we did with international markets around the world. But you see, there is a government today, I know, but the government might not do what we say because there are restrictions in terms of their foreign relations today. And that's why I'm saying there will be adjustment into our foreign relations. Ours shall be economic, diplomatic driven foreign policy. That will be every single step you take will be beneficial to Nigeria, beneficial to our economy, to our well-being, beneficial to our diplomatic challenges, beneficial to Nigerians in diaspora, beneficial to international companies willing to invest in Nigeria. And then by that, you can easily now have Nigeria as the producing country, rather than just a country that has the raw materials where people can come steal and take away. Today, as I talked last week at the Berkete Family, I said there are 66,000. I made a mistake there. 66,000 sites of illegal bunkering from north to south in Nigeria. And then the number of foreigners who are there taking, only God knows the number. Most of them are illegal. So if you quantify what they take every day, it's in billions of dollars. Yet your country is just there begging. So you can see, even if it means just sitting down to create an agency or a ministry that will say, okay, let's identify through satellite from whichever services you can get from any country. I have already. We have done it on our own on personal basis. But if government can make it official to say that you can easily identify and then have Nigerians from the unemployed world to now go to each of the sites and just be buying whatever they take, mop it up and centralize it and approach the world market officially. You are going to make billions. I will not mention a name of a country that sent a general here in 2016 to see the president. Some people blocked the general along with his team. They are from one of the major G7s. He came along with his team. At the end of the day, it was us he met. He came to my house. There was presentation. They offered to be given Nigeria from mopping out stones from illegal sites. They offered Nigeria $35 billion per annum. But then when we went into our investigations, we discovered that was one of the monumental fraud if Nigeria had signed into that agreement. So you see, we went out on our own without help, out of the love of this country, out of the care, and then believing that whatever we do, God has created Nigerians, and the only place you can show loyalty and service to is the same Nigeria. That's what took us out. So Boko Haram, with this, we can easily handle. We can stop mining, because once you stop mining, that is all. But the next most important thing, while I talk about National Guard and waterways, I will tell you the usefulness, is the fact that weapons and drugs move through Nigerian waterways. And that is what many people don't know. The military and the police are busy, who are road-bound, mining roadblocks. The real dissidents move through waters, and they get to wherever they want, inflict injuries and wounds and go away. And they take their resources and through the same water. But the plan we have is out of a long time in-depth planning, and know that it is doable. I'm not talking to you on fairy tales. Anything I tell you will do, just give me short period. You will be amazed at what we can do. There are rooms for employment. There are resources we can generate. And lastly, to your question is to say that whatever lofty idea you have, and whatever candidate you are from whichever party, so long you don't know how to create wealth in and outside Nigeria, you're just wasting people's time. If you're coming to do routine, as some of the godfathers who are now sponsoring some candidates is what they are coming to do, then we are just going back to do the same yesterday's routine that Nigeria doesn't require. And to those who are submitting themselves to international countries and signing agreements with them, all under our eyes, and then it shows that they are just coming to continue with the routines of exploitation. Nigeria doesn't require that. We need something new. We need to draw a line and be sincere to ourselves, and now be practical in doing what is before us. But the moment you talk of practicality, and the moment you talk of not having such people as godfathers, you will be the punching bag, you are at the center. But I tell you this without mixing water at this point in time. I'm a candidate, and thank God for the brothers and sisters we have from across Nigeria and those in diaspora. We are bold, we are on our feet. If God grants us the opportunity, we have known the antics in the past years. We know what to do to reposition Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you. Speaking about, I watched your show on Brekete last week, and you spoke about Apache's the money we keep receiving from the international countries on Apache, the money they say Apache looted in quotes. So, could you give us in-depth knowledge about that? Because all we hear is Apache's loot, but what you said on that show that day really gave me a second thought. And my second question is, what happened to the satellites in Nigeria? I could remember we used to have satellites. I could monitor, see people everywhere. What happened to those satellites? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm happy you have heard what I said on Abacha loot. I first of all came up with that in 2014, soon after my release. For the world to know, I gave this interview in Ikeja, and it's in YouTube, and everybody has seen and known. Then with that, I think that is enough. Now, Abacha, when sanctions were called by some certain people in Nigeria who are in Nigeria, who are sponsoring some candidates at the moment, when they now decided to call for sanctions against Abacha, and sanctions were gradually being enforced, it was then Abacha, on advice, brought all elder statesmen and stakeholders in terms of businesses who came and sat with him and to have worked it out as a means of containing sanctions, so that Nigerians could not feel the pains, meaning private sector was empowered and entrusted with subsidy money to continue to import for and on behalf of government and on behalf of the people, maintaining low prices of items for people to buy. I said so. Everybody was brought to Abuja. They sat and met with the president in Kambu Basi, which is part of Brigade of Guards. Kambu Basi is a place where officers' mess is there, is very big. So because of the size of the people invited, the council hall in the villa might not take them. So that's why they moved to that neutral ground. And there they discussed and worked out the modalities. Modalities of that is another thing entirely. The government of the day should, any government of the day, all the ministries involved should bring out documents. But you see, many of those who are in power are afraid to bring out documents. What one may ask is, who were those people that Abacha brought? How much were they given? Where was this document? Foreign Ministry was there, Central Bank was there, Finance was there, National Planning was there, and then those who took minutes of the meeting was there, meaning the Office of Secretary to the government. So Nigerians, with this information, freedom of information bill, they can ask questions and get documents to utilize, and not yesterday's propaganda to say that, yes, Abacha looted the money. And you know, there are few questions I ask. If Abacha has taken any money, I don't know. But the ones I know is the one I'm talking about. So if people have their own, also they can present it. But what I know is, whether by proxy or directly, once you're opening an account, there must be a direction. Every account has an identity. Any identity, secondary or third, fifth, 10th, even if it means 1,000 party, it has a direction, it has an identity, it has a name. Where are they? Did Abacha ever travel to those countries where money was kept? Did he sign any document? Did he printed any document? How much was the money coming there? From which office or from which bank to which bank? Which are the dates? And whom, even if you open bank by proxy, what are the names of those people by proxy? Now that Abacha is dead, it should be unearthed. They will not allow you to ask these questions. The moment we do, you become an enemy. All I'm saying is, if Abacha has stolen, please bring it out. Please tell Nigerians. Please give any evidence to show that he took. But then there is a game. Time will come so that all these accounts, plus the agreements they have had, that is all of nailing Abacha. You know, my worry here is that whosoever is dead has gone back to God Almighty. Telling lies against the dead is a very capital offense in the sight of God. I am conscious of that, and I don't want to delve into that. What I know is what I have said and what I'm saying, and I will not blink in saying what I know. So the issue of loot, you have heard me talk severally, plus what you asked me right now. The issue of satellite, I was in prison when satellite was contracted. I was in prison when the satellite disappeared. It was out of concern. It was out of my commitments as a citizen. It was out of my concern as a citizen. That's why we went into investigations. We went into 3 countries to ask questions. We went into three countries to ask questions. And that's why we were able to discover. And some certain countries, some certain companies found it necessary and out of concern to say, really, your country has been fooled and we are worried because we have some of our citizens in your country who have investments. They are equally worried because of the insecurity. And our concern is, let the satellite support the security aspect. The economic aspect can come later. It was in the course of searching for this, we have uncovered what we uncovered. And I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm going to talk about it later. I have my reasons why. You have to be seen to be tactical so that even if we are now making an expose, you do it for it to be helpful to the country. Because there is a big team, there is too much money involved, and I know their intention. They don't care about the poor, they don't care about Nigeria, they don't care about our future. And that is the worry we have. To me, I know if God has created all of us Nigerians, that is what God wishes to see us in. If there is a place for us to serve, is Nigeria. We should display our loyalty here, which to me, from every calculations put together, Muslims or Christians, even free thinkers, you should know that even if you're a free thinker, being loyal to that country and being sincere to it is part of worship or appreciating God in the case of free thinkers.
Okay, I have a question on satellite.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, please don't be offended. This place was scheduled for just 2 hours, but it's like almost 4 hours now. Sir, I don't know if you're gonna have time for Saturday, maybe on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., sir. Because there are too many people that want to like ask more questions to you, sir. There are some questions to you, sir. So I want to like schedule this place so you come and educate us more on what you don't know about Nigeria, sir, and your political ambition. That be possible, sir? Please unmute your mic, sir, if possible. And please, the one, are you close to him, please? The one. Sir, we can't hear you. You have to like unmute the mic, sir, if possible.
Hello?
Okay, yes, sir. I was asking, are you going to have time Saturday or Sunday, sir? Let's say 8 or 9 a.m., sir, for just 2 hours.
He will look at our itinerary. You know, it's
Okay,
a campaign period.
Yes,
He
sir.
will look at it, and we shall see what and what to sacrifice. Then he will let you know.
Okay,
Pardon me, I'm talking a little this way. I've been having malaria for the last 4 days.
Yeah,
I'm
so
just
sorry,
managing. In fact, I'm under injection, a bit drowsy, but I'm just answering you, so bear with me.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So he will look at our itinerary and convey to you, and I'll be there, God willing.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
And let me say this to all those who ask me questions. I thank you so much for the questions and for your concern for Nigeria. And I look forward to you as you each have your own destiny. I have my own, and we all have ours. But primarily is our future and our children and our country. So I thank you so much, and I hope you will get to understand my type of person that you're asking. I am not looking for money. I'm not looking to build and compete with anybody for money. All I am after is getting it right for our country. And we want people we can synergize with at home or those in diaspora. I want a situation where a Nigerian can hit his chest and then with pride look at the whole world to know that Nigeria has arrived. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Please, can I just say one thing, please? Can I say one thing, please?
Imperfect, we have not chosen the date. Choose the date and let's know. It says Saturday or Sunday. Choose the date and let's know.
Yes, I will this media team, sir. Like you said, it's campaign period. So I'll speak with this media team, then I'll get back to everybody. Possible. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Al Mustapha. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir.
I would like to
please, this piece has been going on for like over 4 hours.
Please, can I just say something now that Mustapha is here? Please, I just need to say something, please.
Imperfect, allow him to say it now.
Okay, sir, please, but mind your choice of words and language, sir.
Yeah, I'm not pleased. Thank you everyone. And if Mustapha is actually listening, thank you, sir. I had your submission. I have actually followed you in Oputa panel. Every analysis you've made, you're a very intelligent person. I will give that to you. But when it comes to intelligence, intelligence can be used to manipulate, can use to mislead, can use to deceive people. Intelligence can do a lot of things. So, but I give it to your intelligence. But let me tell you, let me just say this. You belong to our past, sir. And Nigeria is not looking to have people from your generation, especially people who were involved in the government that you're involved, to come and solve to be the solution to the problems we have today. I'm saying this because of the presentations you have made. I listened to your back and forth argument with Sergeant Rochas on whether who was killed, whether it was you that gave the order to kill Kudrat and Nadeko people and all the people that was involved in whatever happened to Abacha's regime. And Abiola was in prison for 5 years. That Abacha government was there. So if Abacha had any plan for Abiola, he would have released him. He never did until he died. So whatever happened after he died, whether some people killed him, I saw the analysis you made about the flags, the tea that was served, whether it has two opening inside and not dress of them. All this information that you talk about, sir, if this information were to write a book and put it, we'll read it and posterity will judge it. The idea that Boko Haram is caused because of mineral resources that was seen in some places, sir, there are so many terrorist organizations in the world. I can just open up and just read some of them here. There are too many in every part of the world, especially in the Islamic world. Those terrorism is not actually caused most of the time because of mineral resources. So for you to come in this time, in this season, that Nigerians are looking for a better way to get ourselves to some of the problems, some of you plugged just into, and you're coming to tell us you're the solution to that problem. So I want to say, sir, you are not the solution to that. While you have given us some of this information, that we need it.
Thank you,
Let's talk now.
Please, we have a place. Like over 3 minutes now. Please.
Can I answer him?
Thank you so much for your submission. We'll have our best. Sir, are you there, sir?
I am.
Okay, please. Like I said, can we schedule a space for Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
No. Allow him to answer him.
Excuse me, Prince. Don't do this, I beg. Don't do this, please. People are, you know how many people don't want to talk. Stop this now. Stop this, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Let me answer him.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
My brother, you don't know me. The Mustafa you know is the one you read in papers. You don't know my background. You don't know my relationship with my creator. You have not sat with me. You have already formed an opinion. Propaganda has an effect. I read little on human psychology, and I can see it in you. So I don't take offense in any way. After all, when we were brought to Lagos October 14, 1999, the chief judge of Lagos, who was to preside over a case, was busy reading newspapers and magazines. So soon after we entered his court, he just called us criminals, meaning he has already passed judgment. And after all, after so many times of appearances of the same Rogers you are talking about, and you said you saw Rogers and I in confrontation, I'm sure you have not seen it. It has never happened. Rogers was brought to a Oputa panel. He was coached to abuse us there. And that is all. In a court of law, Rogers exposed the whole game players, those who bought houses for him, those who bought cars for him, those who wrote for him what to say in a court of law. Rogers exposed it. How come you don't know of all this? How come you don't know that they were recruited because they wanted a reason why I should be killed? How come you don't know that? The same Rogers reputed and told them exactly the money given to him and to his family over 17 years. You don't know about the game. You don't know about the other side. So I don't blame you. You don't know me. You've never met me. Kind-heartedness. And remember, I'm not in the army because I wanted money. No. From our house, I came from money and went to suffer into the army because I just wanted to be a soldier. Nothing more. So I think you got it all wrong. And I want you to ask me more blunt questions. There is every good in you asking the hardest you have as questions. Some assumptions and some real. But in your questions, my brother, you said Boko Haram, there are numerous insurgencies around the world or insurgents around the world. And it is not only because of raw materials. You see, you have forgot I was the same person who said this, and I'm going to quote. For the first time in this country, I said, there are no identical insurgencies in the life of mankind. There was not, there is not, and there will never ever be in the laboratory of security science. Every insurgency is to be treated on its own merit because they are not the same. And one of the mistakes Nigeria has been doing is copying what country A, B, C did and applying the same thing here. It's a mistake. This is a deeper thing you might not be aware. But then, if there were no resources in Nigeria, what brought about them? I lived with Boko Haram in Kirikiri. Everybody knows we were together with them for 5 years. Those who were arrested. I lived inside them. We talked. You don't know how much I know from them alone. If my interactions with them and the much I have gotten to know is enough for me to know what I know. And yet I have not even discussed that yet. So you are far away from Nigeria. You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I have seen. So you cannot just condemn. But if you choose to condemn, let that be. I don't know whether you are a Muslim or Christian. I am a Muslim. But I tell you this with all sense of respect and humility. You know, it is blasphemous, either as a Christian or a Muslim, if you now say, God has shown B, C, D to me from spiritual perspective. If it is not, if you tell lies with that, that is blasphemous. And it has a way of affecting any human being. If you are a Christian, is it easy for a personality to come across Jesus? I hope he's hearing me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I have come across Jesus. I have not, if I see Jesus physically, I know him. I have seen Archangel Gabriel. I have seen many prophets. and not in prison, before prison. And up to this time, I'm talking to you. So you don't know me. But you see, you can hate me, it is your right. You can abuse me, it is your right. But I know who I am. And you know destiny, each person, like you have your destiny. It might be different with my own. The supremacy of God Almighty who subjects mankind to trial is the same God I'm looking onto. I'm to die at 18 years from my calculations. These are the ones I know. But God refused it. Not my knowledge, not my power, not my capacity, nothing. But one or two reasons always came in between, and it stopped it from happening. It's not me. Okay, can you be bold enough to look at television after holding an office in Nigeria and said, if I have stolen a kobo, get me prosecuted? You look into the eyes of two former presidents and challenge them this way. I have done it. So please, whenever you hear something or you look at newspapers, calm down, be patient. Look at the other side of the story. You don't know your country even from the resources. I don't know which state you are coming from. I would have talked to you a little about your state. I'm from Yobe State, former Borno State. There is no part of Northeast I don't know. There is no part of Northeast I have not crisscrossed, even as primary, secondary school students with inter-secondary school activities then. I know what I'm talking about. I know the bushes we have. I know the neighboring countries around us. And then as a second lieutenant, I fought war in Chad. And we crisscross all those points. I know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't know what I know.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Imperfect. Imperfect.
I will try to reach out to you, sir, if possible. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Let's call it a day. I'll try to reach out. Then we can make another schedule for the next space to, to educate us more about things we yet to know about Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. With Angel, other speakers on this next section. Thanks for joining. When we'll finally have a date, I'll let everyone know about it. Thank you so much. And please have a nice day. Thanks so much once more. Retired Major Al Mustapha. Thank you so much, sir. Please everyone have a nice day.
Can I give a word of thanks to our host? I mean our invited guest. Can I give a word of thanks?